What is going on, everybody across the land? What is going on? Lawrence Henderson here in the ATL Psych. I'm in Douglasville, Georgia. Coming to you live. Y'all know what this is about. This is about connecting the dots 2024, the Executive Leadership Summit. And I have the absolute pleasure of co-hosting this event this year with none other than Patrina King, Golf Women Mean Business. What's going on, Patrina?
Not much. Well, the rain is I'm not in Atlanta either, so I'm not going to even go down that road. They told us the metro is not Atlanta, so
exactly. It's a whole song about it.
Yes. Good day, though. Good day.
Good day. Well, y'all, who we have with us are the amazing speakers, presenters for this year's summit that we are excited, changing the format, having a leader conversation about the main topics that are changing our workplace, our businesses. And we also could not do this unless somebody had the absolute ability to help an event like this flow smoothly. You need a dynamic MC to keep the flow rolling. And so I will introduce them in the order of things. But our MC for this event this year, Melissa D. White, what's going on, activation coach?
Hello, family. What's up, Connect the Dots family? Excited to be back another year. Let's go.
Man, I'm telling you. And so going, we got our Douglas County folks in the house, president of the Douglas Chamber, Sarah. What is going on?
Rocking and rolling. I am bundled up for my rainy day here in Georgia, in Douglas County.
Gotta love it. And then, of course, talking all things digital disruption, the tech giant in her own right, Dr. Georgette. How are you?
It is definitely a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to connecting the dots with everybody here.
I love it. And then, of course, there's no nepotism in speaker land or any programs or anything else like that. But when you have a dynamic brother who speaks around the world globally on all things diversity, equity, inclusion, and what that means in leadership. Got Kinston Henderson. What's going on, sir?
Hey. Excited to be here with all these amazing professionals and people at first. So glad to be here.
I love it. So Patrina, if you want to tell everybody, because oftentimes you see events posted online, and again, we're in competition with the hundreds of events and things that go on in Atlanta. But when me and you got together about connecting the dots, again, I know if you didn't catch our live last week, just the why behind this partnership and why this format of speaking to leaders. So Patrina, why does an event like this matter to you as a leader?
Well, it matters to me because, leaders, they are already spread thin. And they have to take a lot of, training, professional development, continuing education, all those things. And then they have to deal with, their employees and coworkers and things at the same time. And a lot of times I don't want to just use checking the box, but it's a requirement. And it's kind of, even as just a human being, you have to check off things that you have to get done. So this event, the why here is because it's more than that. You're going to check the box and you're going to connect with other leaders to bounce some ideas off of, to get some have conversations with, that they can understand where you are in your journey, wherever that is, and then connect with them later on. It's just a room full of like minds that will be beneficial in addition to checking that box. So.
Yeah, and I know for me, I'm gonna just keep it blunt with y'all as I navigate through my professional career. There's this thing that says it's always lonely at the top, but I've wondered why. And as somebody who leans into people dynamics, leadership development, and all those things, I'm like, why is it lonely at the top? Well, I'm coming to understand as a CEO of my own organization is because there is less and less community that you feel vulnerable enough to and courageous enough to help you sharpen what it is that you're going through, and without feeling judged, without feeling like somebody is going to beat you over the head with it. And so creating these spaces for leaders I believe this is my calling, if you will, when it comes to leadership development, because again, an organizational go as the leader goes. And so if a leader doesn't find that space to hone their skills, sharpen their skills, then where will they? And oftentimes it'll end up do as I say, not as I do. because that leader doesn't have the support system or the community to help sharpen them in meaningful ways. And that's why, again, as we talk about the topics that we pulled out, like why, and I know Sarah's going to be talking about kind of what does well-being mean and all those things in the workplace. Like, Sarah, when you, as a president of a chamber, like what are you seeing out there as to you said yes to this event to be a speaker because what are you seeing?
Yeah, I think that the main thing for me is, as a CEO of the chamber or as a CEO of a large corporation or small business, you can only do so much in the day. And I'm a firm believer in the power of partnerships and collaboration. Our kind of tagline at the chamber is we're a place where partnerships and businesses thrive. And so I think by leaning on each other, like I don't have to be the expert in all of the things, or leaning on our business community, on other partners, is something that I think, a lot of times people feel like they have to just like own everything and do everything from scratch themselves. And that's not easy. And if you can lean on the power of partnerships where you have true subject matter experts in areas, it's just a lot easier. And then you get a greater, more quality product or a program or whatever it is from that. And so I think that since the pandemic, we've seen a big shift in that and into people kind of focusing, and we've done at the chamber, focusing on more authentic, intentional interactions versus just like putting everybody in a room, hoping that they all find some kind of value, which is why I think that this event is an amazing one, because we're all intentionally, strategically placed in this programming to provide value. And I'm not trying to be an expert at something else that somebody else is going to speak on, because I believe and support that they are the expert, and I can learn from them and take best practices. So that's a big reason of why I said yes. And a lot of what we're seeing in the business community. So and then just as far as the workplace piece goes, the way that we do business, the way that we take care of our employees is so different than it was 4 or 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago. So we've had some really cool kind of best practices of things that we've done internally at the chamber, but have also seen with other businesses and how they've leaned into that, because it's completely different with today's generation. So I'm really excited to talk about that.
I love that. And Dr. Georgette, I was talking with my team yesterday, and we were having a very interesting conversation about our internal systems and tech and all the rest of it. And I like to think I'm an early adopter sometimes. But our admin, she a monster of a program manager and just systems background person, was all eagerly trying to describe some things to me, and I almost had heart palpitations of how fast she wanted to go. I thought I was good, but she's like going after it. And when you think about just the integration into our daily lives of tech and all the rest of those things, like as a leader in this industry, like what are you seeing? And again, why did you say yes to come in and be like, all right, lend your voice to this space for us?
So the number one reason why I said yes is, but I think you touched on it as well as Sarah, right? Communities help people and help leaders become stronger. When we come together, the best leaders I've ever encountered in the world are surrounded by people that lift them up, people that not only shine above them, but also help them drive what they do, help them innovate, help them think outside of the box, help them become better as individuals as well as as leaders in business. So that's my number one reason for being here. But from a technology perspective, the world is changing faster than we could ever really keep up. Most of the people, at least my generation, not to age myself, are older than the internet, or older than the real internet, right? So just think about the fact that the internet just started in some of our lifetimes, and now we have the entire, as big, a huge computer that we carry around with us every single day. So the world is changing, and we need to transform with it, right? I've helped people around the world, corporations, governments, figure out how to work smarter and not harder. And as leaders, we need to embrace that technology. And we have so much innovation right now at our fingertips. We have so much tech at our fingertips. So with all of those tools, just like your admin was able to say, okay, well, we know you got it, but there's all of this stuff on the back end, right, that can help you be able to take it to the next level. And technology right now, we're at the dawn of something new, where we're able to go ahead and say, there's some things right now that even me as a technologist, I started coding at the age of 11. Me as a technologist, I'm able to go ahead and say, wow, this makes me better. And I could do things that would normally take months and do it in a couple of minutes or seconds. And that's the type of technology we have at our fingertips right now. And I want to make sure that everybody has it at the tip of their fingertips.
I love it. And I want to make sure we have a conversation more than Chat GPT. It seemed like somebody say tech, somebody say AI, immediately everybody go Chat GPT. So I'm excited about that for myself. So I'm be taking notes on all the other things that are coming. And so when you think about just topics, right? And Sarah, you hit on it, and Dr. Georgette, you begin to hit on it. There's an integration of all these nuances and different facets of life. And the reason why, again, we wanted to have diversity and inclusion as a leader conversation with someone who's been speaking to the masses about its implications, not just from the very surface level of it, the outward appearance of diversity and inclusion. Kinston, as you say yes, and again, I kind of told you that you was coming down to Georgia to talk, but
Only my brother.
your thing? Like, why is this your world? And why are you like so like, no, this is the thing we need to focus on as leaders?
Listen, it kind of looked like when I spoke at a conference, I won't name this conference, but it was focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in this conference, I was just talking with the different folks. A lot of them were chief diversity officers, leaders in their organizations. They had one thing in common: fear. Fear. And these are people that have a seat at the table, but they still were fearful of the culture that they were surrounded by. And so many of them didn't get to do the things that they really wanted to implement. Now they were sold a dream when they took on the job, but now that they had the job, they really couldn't do anything. And so I spent a lot of time and even speaking with them and getting some feedback of why is it? Why is this fear there? Is because there's a lot of toxicity between it's either at the C-suite level or it's at the mid management level. And so we started talking different strategies and things that help them think outside of where they are to be able to bring business case, because that's what C-suite leaders, they listen to is business cases. And then mid-management, they listen to how does this affect them and why. And so I'm really all about disrupting comfort zones. And if we can lean into those comfort zones as mid-managers, as C-suite leaders, we'll quickly find out that this DI thing is very necessary. And so I'm excited to say yes voluntarily, because I want to help these leaders in the Connecting the Dots conference really have some good strategies, some real applicable things that they can engage with their teams with, so that they keep going and not burn out. And so, Sarah said it, Dr. Georgette said it. My thing is, if you're doing life alone, you're doing it all wrong. And so if you're doing DEI alone, you're doing it all wrong. We need a community of folks so that way we keep going forward. We keep moving it forward. So I'm excited.
Man, I love it. I'm glad you left off particularly on that we point, because again, even as we're all navigating these different spaces, I have not been in today. And so to be with others in today, in this moment, learning alongside each other, I think leaders being able, one of the things we help leaders understand is like who's modeling the right behavior and who can model discomfort in a comfortable way. Be like, this is a part of learning. This is a part of innovation, and seeing DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion as a creative and innovative practice is a shift in mindset for leaders to begin helping themselves so they can connect the dots in a meaningful way. Y'all see what I did there? I just connected the dots. And so Patrina, my partner in success on this, I don't know if a lot of you know Patrina King not only has a breadth and depth with Golf Women Mean Business, but the HR leader inside of Patrina King is coming off the top ropes to talk about engagement and retention. And if you think about Patrina, like what made that, like that's your world of going out, making sure people are engaged and connected in meaningful ways. You're on mute.
That's why I don't even do it. I normally just let it slide, just let it be. definitely. Because we do tend to, I guess, complain about like the teenagers and the young people who don't necessarily connect. We text, they text their parents, they text their friends, they text everybody, or maybe send an email with the text language in it, And so what I've noticed is a lot of our leaders have not necessarily, they don't text like the kids, but the connection, having to speak to people just one on one in person, just having a solid conversation, again, outside of checking the box, and just engagement. And especially after COVID, a lot of that went down because people are not coming to the office as much. We got kind of used to speaking like via Zoom, like we are here. So the engagement part, of course, that just kind of goes with the territory, when conversations stop or leaders not talking to people face to face, that engagement kind of goes down. So that's really my ultimate why, which is why I wanted to get in here and make sure I do my little piece, put my little piece in there.
I love it. I love it. And our MC Melissa D. White, I want you to come in here, Coach Mel. Coach Mel, I know you've been taking notes over there. I've been seeing you scribbling and writing based on all the things that the leaders are saying. So as you think about this day shaping out for people, like what are the things you're already the connected tissue that you're beginning to hear from all of our leaders?
I can sum it up just really quickly. Everyone talked about what leaders feel and what they want, but who's going to give them a space where they can openly speak and give a voice about what they need? Kinston hit on it. Like the first thing he said was, well, leaders, they have this fear, right, of the environment they're in. And I'm thinking, well, if you're a leader, can't you shift the culture of the environment? And so that tells me that they don't have a voice or feel empowered or activated enough to change it. So connecting the dots is real special to me because it gives a safe place to have a voice where they may not feel safe or empowered to do so in their organizations.
Yeah, buddy. So now y'all know. Go ahead, Patrina. I see you put up that church finger.
She's like,
You
And
on me?
I'm on mute again. So I was just going to pick at you for being on mute. But listen, that's okay. I was going to.
I love it. So what if y'all are out there watching, if y'all have any questions of any of the leaders, and of course we got our folks that are gonna be dropping links and all those other good things. And the thing that I'm gonna be speaking about, and that's becoming very apparent to me, is all the leaders are talking about creating the workplace of the future. And what does this look like? Creating organizations of the future where a leader can now have the skills, the learned tangible skill to not only, what we're talking about is being able to emotionally regulate so I can actually make the decisions that need to be made. And again, with others, and not to feel like ultimately like this is all on me. But again, you have people who are invested in your organization, who are invested in the success of the organization. And so why not let them come, take some ownership, have some shared accountability as you move through? And this workplace of the future is everybody really truly being on board in a self-determined type of way where there is a level of competence, there's a level of autonomy, but there's also a relatedness or community aspect that actually needs, in some cases, to be built, some rebuilt, and then also in that rebuilding, reimagined on what it needs to look like in an iterative form. And I think that's the part that freaks people out as it pertains to the leaders. Like, because again, how many of us engage leaders, and this is open for all of you leaders, is how many of us have talked to people and they were waiting for things to go back to normal,
A lot of that is happening. Yeah.
right?
I have. Yeah.
And so when you think about what that actually meant to others, that also goes to some of the things you were talking about. What you all were talking about is people were holding on to this idea of the reality of things, and they actually weren't forecasting it and looking at what is. And so I think you leaders have the opportunity. Y'all, if y'all not there on March 28th at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs in Atlanta, you're going to be missing out. And here's the funny part. Their talks are not going to be long at all. So it's the tip of the iceberg. And so now what you have to do is end up connecting with them. So They all are on LinkedIn. So you see their names. Got Sarah Ray. It got the CEO of the Douglas Chamber. You got Dr. Georgette Fraser Moore. You got Melissa D. White. You got Kinston Henderson Sr. You got Patrina King, Golf Women Mean Business. And you got me. You can find my full government name, Lawrence E. Henderson Jr. on LinkedIn. And so March 28th is there. I'm going to actually show there's a QR code because here's something, y'all. I told them before we got started, I love handing out candy. And I did something. I did a thing. I buy one, get one. So you all, if you buy a ticket, you buy a seat, you get a seat. And so the registration form, that QR code to take you directly there, you will actually get the opportunity to put another person's name in your registration. So there it is, y'all. The registration is right there for you to take advantage. And today's price will not be tomorrow's price. So take advantage of the opportunity to get today's price today. And so any last words from any of you leaders before we call it a day? Because I only wanted them to get a snippet of you. I wanted to get a snippet. Any last words?
I'll say one thing. I mean, just as an encouragement to attend this event is I know as the CEO of the chamber, and I'm sure other executives that are thinking about attending, it's always something, it's always very easy to just put things off and be like, oh, I can figure something out. But like putting yourself first is the best thing that you can do for your team and for your business. So I encourage you guys to join us in a couple of weeks because again, I'm the queen of pushing things off and taking care of others, but this is a great opportunity to take care of yourself. So hope to see you there.
All right, thank you.
Listen, I just want to say this is not your average conference. This isn't where you're going to come fill up a notebook and go back, use it as a placeholder or a mat on your desk or whatever. This is real interaction, real time. And as leaders, come on now, you're so always pulling into other people or pouring into other people. You're the one that's always at the head, but come get poured into. And the real relationships, like we said, be transparent, be vulnerable, but most importantly, be connected to real solutions and real people. So get in the room March 28th.
I could jump
Yeah.
in because March 20th is going to be powerful. That's the word that keeps on resonating for me. It's going to be a powerful day filled with not just, again, Melissa, you hit it on the nail, hit the nail on the head when you said that, come in vulnerable because this is the environment that you're going to be able to get what you need, give what you need, and be able to take yourself to the next level. And that investment in yourself is priceless.
And I would just say, come in curious, but come in hungry. So come in hungry, come in curious to glean, but to connect as well, because you're going to get exactly what you need and get out of what you really want when you attend. But it first comes of you stepping out of comfort zone. So come curious and come hungry to get what you need, and that's how you lead well.
I agree. I agree with Kinston. I agree with everyone. Like set expectations and stay there. Don't compare to what you've been to, what you're used to and all of that. Like have some expectations and come in expecting those expectations to be exceeded. We are that confident in what we're going to bring to the table here. So,
Yeah.
Lawrence.
On that note, have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you on March 28th. See y'all soon.